Dracula, August 1st, Part 2, Mina Murray's Journal. 1 August. I came up here an hour ago with Lucy, and we had the most interesting talk with my old friend and the two others who always come and join him. He is evidently the Sir Oracle of them, and I should think must have been in his time a most dictatorial person. He will not admit anything and downfaces everybody. If he can't out-argue them, he bullies them, and then takes their silence for agreement with his views. Lucy was looking sweetly pretty in her white lawn frock. She's got a beautiful color since she's been here. I noticed that the old men do not lose any time in coming up and sitting near her when we sat down. She is so sweet with old people. I think they all fell in love with her on the spot. Even my old man succumbed and did not contradict her, but gave me double share instead. I got him on the subject of the legends, and he went off at once into a sort of sermon. I must try and remember it and put it down. It be all fool talk, lock, stock, and barrel, that's what it be, and nought else. These bands and wafts and bow-ghosts and bar-guests and bogles and all and them is only fit to set bairns and dizzy women a builderin. They be naught but airblebs. They and all grims and signs and warnings be all invented by parsons all ilsome book buddies and railway touters to scare and scunner halflins, and to get folks to do something they don't other inclined to. It makes me ireful to think of them. Why, it's them that, not content with printing lies on paper and preaching them out in pulpits, does want to be cutting them on the tombstones. Look here all round you, and what art they will. All them steens holding up their heads as well as they can out of their pride is a cant simply tumbling down with the weight of the lies wrote on 'em. Here lies the body, or sacred to the memory, wrote on all of 'em, and yet in nigh half of 'em there bean't no bodies at all, and the memories of 'em bean't cared a pinch of snuff about, much less sacred. Lies all of 'em, nothing but lies of one kind or another. My gog, but it'll be a queer scouterman at the day of judgment when they come tumbling up in their death sarks, all juped together and trying to drag the tombstones with 'em to prove how good they was, some of them trimlin' and dithering, with their hands that doesn't and slippy from lying in the sea that they can't even keep the grip of 'em. I could see from the old fellow's self-satisfied air and the way in which he looked round for the approval of his cronies that he was showing off. So I put in a word to keep him going. "Oh, Mr. Swales, you can't be serious. Surely these tombstones are not all wrong." "Yablins! There be a poor few not wrong, saving where they make out the people too good. For there be folk that do think a balm bowl be like the sea, if only it be their own. The whole thing be only lies. Now look you here, you come here a stranger, and you see this cook-garth." I nodded, for I thought it better to assent, though I did not quite understand his dialect. I knew it had something to do with the church. He went on, "And you consait that all these steens be aboon folk that be happed here, snod and snog?" I assented again. "Then that be just where the lie comes in. Why, there be scores of those lay-beds. There be tomb as old Dunn's bacca-box on Friday night." He nudged one of his companions, and they all laughed. "And my gog, how could they be otherwise? Look at that one, the aftest abaft a beer bank. Read it." I went over and read, "Edward Spensley, master mariner, murdered by pirates off the coast of Andreas, April 1854, eat 30. When I came back, Mr. Swales went on, "Who brought him home, I wonder, to hap him here? Murdered off the coast of Andreas, and you consait that his body lay under? Why, I could name you a dozen whose bones lie in the Greenland seas above." He pointed northwards, "or where the currents may have drifted 'em. There be the steens around you. You can, with your young eyes, read the small print of the lies from here. This Braithwaite Lowry, I knew his father, lost in the Lively off Greenland in 20. Or Andrew Woodhouse, drowned in those same seas in 1777. Or John Paxton, drowned off Cape Farewell a year later. Or old John Rawlins, whose grandfather sailed with me, drowned in the Gulf of Finland in 50. Do you think that these men will have to make a rush to Whitby when the trumpet sounds? I have me antherems about it. I tell you that when they got here, they'd be jomlin' and jostling one another that way that it'd be like a fight up on the ice in the old days, when we'd be at one another from daylight to dark, and trying to tie up our cuts by the light of the aurora borealis." This was evidently local pleasantry, for the old man cackled over it, and his cronies joined in with gusto. "But," I said, "surely you're not quite correct, for you start on the assumption that all the poor people, or their spirits, will have to take their tombstones with them on the Day of Judgment. Do you think that will really be necessary?"
"Well, what else be the tombstones for? Answer me that, miss."
"Well, to please their relatives, I suppose."
"To please their relatives, you suppose?" This he said with intense scorn. "How will it pleasure the relatives to know what lies is wrote all over 'em, and that everybody in the place knows that they be lies?"
He pointed to a stone at our feet, which had been laid down as a slab, on which the seat was rested, close to the edge of the cliff.
"Read the lies on that, Thruffstein," he said.
The letters were upside down to me from where I sat, but Lucy was more opposite to them, so she leant over and read, "Sacred to the memory of George Kennan, who died in the hope of a glorious resurrection on July 29th, 1823, falling from the rocks at Kettleness. This tomb was erected by his sorrowing mother to a dearly beloved son. He was the only son of his mother, and she was a widow."
"Really, Mr. Swales, I don't think there's anything very funny in that."
She spoke her comment very gravely and somewhat severely.
"You don't see aught funny. Ha! But that's because the sorrowing mother was a hellcat that hated him because he was a crooked. A regular amateur he was, and he hated her so that he committed suicide in order that she mightn't get an insurance she put on his life. He blew nigh the top of his head off with an old musket that they had for scaring the crows with. 'Twarn't for crows then, for it brought the clegs and the doups to him. That's the way he fell off the rocks, and as to hopes of a glorious resurrection, I've often heard him say myself that he hoped he'd go to hell, for his mother was so pious that she'd be sure to go to heaven, and he didn't want to addle where she was. Now isn't that Steen at any rate?"
He hammered it with his stick as he spoke.
"A pack of lies, and won't it make Gabriel keckle when Geordie comes panting up the geese with the tombstone balanced up on his hump and asks it to be took as evidence?"
Well, I didn't know what to say, but Lucy turned the conversation as she said, rising up,
"Oh, why did you tell us of this? It is my favorite seat, and I cannot leave it, and now I find I must go on sitting over the grave of a suicide." "That won't harm you, my pretty, and it may make poor Geordie gladsome to have so trim a lass sitting on his lap. That won't hurt you. Why, I've sat here off and on for nigh 20 years past, and it hasn't done me no harm. Don't you fash about them as lies under you, or that doesn't lie there either. It'll be time for you to be getting scart when you see the tombstones all run away with, and the place as bare as a stubble field. There's the clock. I must gang. My service to you, ladies." And off he hobbled.
Lucy and I sat a while, and it was all so beautiful before us that we took hands as we sat, and she told me all over again about Arthur and their coming marriage. That made me just a little heartsick, for I haven't heard from Jonathan for a whole month. The same day, I came up here alone, for I am very sad. There was no letter for me. I hope there cannot be anything the matter with Jonathan. The clock has just struck 9. I see the lights scattered all over the town, sometimes in rows where the streets are, and sometimes singly. They run right up the Esk and die away in the curve of the valley. To my left, the view is cut off by a black line of roof of the old house next to the abbey. The sheep and lambs are bleating in the fields away behind me, and there's a clatter of a donkey's hooves up the paved road below. The band on the pier is playing a harsh waltz in good time, and further along the quay there is a Salvation Army meeting in a back street. Neither of the bands hears the other, but up here I hear and see them both. I wonder where Jonathan is, and if he's thinking of me. I wish he were here.